Morning, guys. Tom Greenwood here. This is my YouTube channel. So today I want to talk about the value of connections. The robustness of a system is defined by the number of connections between the parts in it. So anything that you can think of, a computer, an ecosystem, a firearm, a jet, your car, this phone, has a number of components in it, whatever that number is. Now, the stability of a system is defined by the number of relationships between the parts. Like in the ecosystem, the more organisms there are and the more relationships between the organisms there are, the more stable the ecosystem is. And that's also true in societal networks. Strangely enough, things that have moving parts are not more stable by the number of connections. It actually turns out you add levels of complexity when you add anything to it. So the simplest car is often the most stable car because it has less moving parts to break and things to go wrong. So it's a weird kind of thing that doesn't work everywhere. Anyway, but in social networks and in ecosystems and other kinds of systems that are like societal, socially based, the greater number of components in it, the more stable the system is. And then greater the number of interactions between the system, the more stable it is. So what I'm talking about is everybody hears about networking. Networking, you got to network your way to the top. You got to network your way to success. You just network your way in. Well, what does that mean? Well, it works kind of like this. If I know you and you know me, we have one connection between us. But if I know you and I know your brother, then I have a connection with you and a connection with your brother. My number of connections doubles. But also, the number of connections that you have double. So if you have 10 connections, there aren't 10 connections within that system. There are really 9 plus 8 plus 7 plus 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1, because each component in that system has a connection. And if those if those components are connected to each other equally, then that system is more stable and more robust. So when we talk about something like the ecosystem and extinction happening, and it's happening at an unprecedented rate. We're in an extinction level event right now. I don't care what any science denier or climate scientist says out there. We're going through an extinction level event. We haven't seen this kind of stuff happen in quite some time. Anyway, it's a big deal because when an organism dies and it's unique or relatively unique, well, I don't know, there's no such thing as relatively unique. It's unique or it's rare or there's very few other organisms like it. If there's a billion organisms and that organism dies, we lose a billion potential connections inside that ecosystem. So it really is a big deal. It's like when you lose a friend or a person inside a social network, that person is removed from it for whatever reason. It's a huge deal because the number of connections that person has, it reduces the whole system potentially by a huge number. If there's 100 people within a network of friends and one of them dies, you don't just lose that one person. You lose 99 connections, and that makes that web that much potentially less stable. I don't know if I'm making the right kind of sense here, but whatever. It's early and I haven't had coffee. So what I'm saying is that the more, as far as success goes, as far as getting somewhere in the world, I don't know, as far as having greater access to things in the world and greater chance of success in an endeavor, the more people you know, the greater the possibilities are, because that one person that comes into your network that you get to know doesn't just increase it by one, it increases it exponentially by a huge number of potential connections. And that kind of power is difficult to comprehend because our brains think linearly and not exponentially. So anyway, kind of weird, kind of out there, but it's what I've been thinking about today and last night. As always, if you like my stuff, share it with people, subscribe to my channel, hit me up, we'll get a cup of coffee and hang out sometime. Hope you guys have a good day. Bye.